Have you ever found yourself in a moment where anger took over and you couldn't stop it, even though you knew you'd regret it later? What if I told you that there's a way to break free from that cycle and never let anger or frustration control you again? Imagine staying completely calm, no matter how much someone pushes your buttons or how chaotic life gets. Sounds almost impossible, right? Well, that's exactly what Stoicism, the ancient philosophy of emotional mastery, teaches. In this video, we'll reveal 10 life-changing Stoic lessons that can help you unlock the secret to staying composed, no matter who or what tries to upset you. Are you ready to discover how to control your emotions and transform the way you react to everything around you? The last lesson will shock you. Trust me, you'll want to stick around till the very end. But before we dive in, pay attention to this story, which will help you better understand the wisdom in this material. The story of Noah. Noah was a man who had everything: intelligence, success, and ambition, but there was one battle he always lost: his temper. A rude customer, his blood boiled. A friend cancelling plans last minute. His whole day was ruined. Someone cutting him off in traffic. He'd spend the next hour replaying it in his head. No matter how hard he tried, people always found a way to upset him. One evening, after a particularly frustrating day, Noah visited his grandfather, an old philosopher who had mastered the art of remaining unshaken. "Grandfather," Noah sighed, "why does everyone make me so angry? Why can't people just be better?" His grandfather chuckled and handed him a spoon. "Hold this," he said, before filling it to the brim with water. "Now, walk around the garden," he instructed, "but be careful. Not a single drop should spill." Confused but obedient, Noah walked carefully, keeping his eyes glued to the spoon. 5 minutes later, he returned. "I did it," he said proudly. His grandfather smiled. "Good. Now tell me, did you notice the birds chirping, the wind in the trees, the children playing nearby?" Noah frowned. "No, I was too focused on not spilling the water." The old man leaned back. "Exactly. You were too focused on your task to be distracted by things that didn't matter. Now tell me, why do you let other people's words and actions spill your peace?" Noah froze. That night, he understood the secret. Anger isn't caused by others. It's caused by our own lack of focus. From that day on, Noah trained his mind like he had trained his hands to hold that spoon. When someone was rude, he reminded himself, "I control my emotions, not them." When things didn't go as planned, why waste energy on what I can't change? When life tested him, my peace is too valuable to spill over things that don't matter. Slowly, the world around him didn't change, but his reaction did, and that was all the power he ever needed. Anger isn't about what happens around you. It's about what happens inside you. If you keep your focus on your peace, distractions lose their power. You don't stop getting angry by controlling others. You stop by controlling yourself. A calm mind is like a steady hand holding a full spoon. If you focus on what truly matters, nothing can shake you. Before we begin with the first lesson, if you find these videos helpful, I encourage you to subscribe and turn on notifications to stay updated on the latest content. Let's begin. Number 1. Control your reactions. Have you ever noticed how much we let the outside world influence how we feel? From small frustrations to big upsets, it's easy to let the actions of others dictate our emotions. But here's the powerful truth. You can't control how others behave, but you can always control how you respond. Anger isn't something that just happens to you, it's a choice, and learning to control your reactions is the key to mastering your peace. Imagine you're holding onto a kite string. The kite, caught in the wind, is tossed and turned in different directions. You can't control the wind, but you can control how you hold onto the string. If you hold it too tightly, you risk breaking the string, but if you hold it too loosely, the kite may fly away. The balance is in your hands. In life, people and situations are like the wind. They may try to push you in different directions, but your reactions are like the kite string. You get to decide how tightly or loosely you hold on. For example, think about the last time you felt angry. Maybe someone cut you off in traffic or said something hurtful. The moment you feel that anger rising, it's like you're holding onto that string. You can choose to grip it tightly and let the wind of frustration pull you into a storm, or you can take a deep breath, loosen your grip, and choose to remain calm. Your response doesn't have to be a reaction to the wind. You have the power to guide yourself through the storm. This also applies in your personal relationships. It's easy to let someone's words or actions control how you feel. But remember, their behavior doesn't dictate your peace. Instead of reacting with frustration or anger, take a step back and choose how you'll respond. This is your strength, not in the world outside, but in the control you have over your own mind. Controlling your reactions is like practicing a sport. At first, your movements may feel clumsy or uncertain, but the more you practice, the more you gain control, the more graceful and intentional your responses become. Life, like a sport, requires skill, balance, and discipline. When you choose to control your reactions, you build resilience. So, the next time something happens that triggers you, ask yourself, how do I want to respond, not just react? As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The strength comes not from the world around you, but from the power you hold inside. So, are you ready to take control of your reactions? The world will always present challenges, but your response is always yours to choose. Number 2, expect imperfection. Have you ever noticed how much effort we put into making everything just right? From how we manage our time to how we want others to behave, we constantly try to control things to meet our perfect vision. But what do we really achieve in the end? Stress, frustration, and a feeling that no matter how hard we try, everything is slipping through our hands like grains of sand. In our need to control, we forget a fundamental truth. Imperfection is inevitable. Life, people, and situations will never be perfect, and that's perfectly okay. Imagine you're trying to fix a broken vase. No matter how much you try to glue it back together, it will never look the same as it did before. The cracks will always be visible. But what if you stopped trying to make it perfect and instead embraced its uniqueness? Life is like that vase. We try to fix the imperfections, but what if we simply accepted them? Stoicism teaches us that strength comes from accepting imperfection, both in our lives and in others. For example, think about a time when things didn't go as planned. Instead of getting frustrated about what went wrong, try to reframe it. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" This shift in mindset helps you accept imperfection without frustration. Life isn't about perfect outcomes. It's about learning to navigate through the mess and still find joy. This also applies to how we interact with others. Sometimes, in trying to control how people behave, we create tension. But here's the truth. You can't change anyone. You can guide, support, or inspire. But no matter how much you try, people will always make their own choices. Instead of trying to force your ideas or expectations on someone else, accept them for who they are. You can invite them to share experiences with you, but if they don't want to, that's perfectly fine. Relax, enjoy your own journey, and let them walk at their own pace. Accepting imperfection, just like learning to ride a bike, takes practice. At first, it might feel uncomfortable, and you might feel like you're going to fall, but with each attempt, you gain balance, and soon enough, you start to enjoy the ride. Life, much like riding a bike, is about balance, not about forcing things to go perfectly. When you let go of the need for everything to be flawless, you open up space for growth and peace. So the next time you feel yourself getting frustrated, take a deep breath, let go of the need for perfection, and embrace what is. As a Stoic proverb says, life is like a river. Sometimes you have to go with the flow and enjoy the current. So, are you ready to start letting go of perfection? Life is full of beautiful imperfections, and who knows, you might just find joy in the process of letting go. Number 3, detach from ego. Have you ever noticed how often we let our pride control us? Whether it's a small disagreement or a big argument, we often feel the need to be right, to defend our point of view, or to prove someone else wrong. But what do we end up with? Stress, conflict, and that uncomfortable feeling that our sense of self is tied to being right. In these moments, we forget one crucial lesson. Being right isn't as important as being at peace. Imagine you're holding a heavy stone in your hand. The longer you hold it, the heavier it gets. At some point, you realize that you can choose to put it down. That's how ego works. It weighs us down and limits our ability to find peace. Stoicism teaches that letting go of the need to always be right is a path to freedom. As Marcus Aurelius said, "If someone can prove me wrong, I will gladly change." The true strength lies not in winning the argument, but in learning and growing through it. For example, the next time you're in a heated discussion, try stepping back. Instead of fighting to prove your point, ask yourself, is it more important to be right or to be calm? When you detach from your ego, you open yourself up to new ideas, insights, and growth. Instead of getting defensive, listen with the intent to understand, not to win. This also applies to how we handle feedback. When someone points out our mistakes, we often feel attacked, like our worth is being questioned. But here's the truth: mistakes don't define you. Instead of defending yourself, embrace the opportunity to learn and grow. In this way, you can detach your ego from your actions and focus on improving rather than protecting your pride. Letting go of the need to always be right takes time, just like learning to steer a car. At first it feels uncomfortable, and your reflexes may lead you to defend yourself. But over time, you begin to steer with wisdom, knowing that peace comes from releasing the need for control. Life, like driving, is about balance, navigating through twists and turns without letting your ego steer you off course. When you detach from ego, you create space for humility, growth, and inner peace. So the next time you feel the urge to defend your pride, ask yourself, is being right more important than my peace? As a Stoic proverb says, it's not the events that disturb us, but our judgment of them. Let go of the need to be right, and you'll find strength in your calm. So, are you ready to let go of your ego? The journey ahead might surprise you with new wisdom and freedom. If you found this valuable, hit like and subscribe for more powerful insights. Number 4, pause before reacting. Have you ever seen a pot of boiling water? The moment you take it off the heat, it stops bubbling. But if you act while it's still boiling, you'll burn yourself. Our emotions work the same way. When we react too quickly, we act in the heat of the moment, often saying or doing things we later regret. But if we pause, even for a few seconds, the intensity cools and we regain control. Here's the truth: reacting impulsively rarely leads to good outcomes. Anger, frustration, or hurt can cloud our judgment, making us say things we don't mean or make decisions we later wish we could take back. Stoicism teaches that true power comes from restraint. As Abraham Lincoln wisely said, "Better to be silent and thought a fool than to speak and remove all doubt." A calm mind makes better decisions, and the simplest way to achieve that is by pausing before reacting. I remember a time when I let my emotions take over. A close friend made a sarcastic remark that hit a nerve. Without thinking, I snapped back, turning a small issue into a heated argument. Later, I realized that if I had just taken a deep breath and paused, I would have seen it for what it was, a harmless joke. That one moment of reaction cost me peace, and I learned that wisdom lies in choosing when not to respond. Why do we react too quickly? Because emotions push us toward immediate action. When we feel insulted, embarrassed, or angry, our instinct is to defend ourselves now. But the truth is, most things don't require an instant reaction. When you pause, you gain clarity, and clarity leads to better decisions. How to pause before reacting and stay in control. Use the one-breath rule. Before you say anything, take a deep breath. That 1 second of stillness can prevent a lifetime of regret. Ask, "Is this worth my peace?" If responding will only fuel the fire, it's better to remain silent. Some battles aren't worth fighting. Detach from the emotion. Observe your emotions instead of letting them control you. Recognize, "I feel anger, but I don't have to act on it." Master the art of silence. Sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. A controlled silence speaks louder than any words spoken in anger. Reacting without thinking is like touching boiling water. You only end up hurting yourself. But Stoicism teaches that wisdom is found in restraint. The less you react, the more control you have. So, the next time emotions rise, ask yourself, am I acting from wisdom or just from impulse? Take a breath, let the water cool, and walk away with your peace intact. Number 5. Reframe the situation. Have you ever seen a blacksmith forge a sword? The metal is struck again and again by fire and hammer, but instead of breaking, it becomes stronger. Life works the same way. Every hardship, every obstacle, every challenge is shaping you into something greater. The difference is whether you see it as destruction or transformation. Here's the truth. Most problems aren't problems. They're lessons in disguise. But when we take things personally, we turn obstacles into enemies. We let difficulties make us bitter instead of better. Stoicism teaches that perspective is everything. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "What stands in the way becomes the way." When you stop seeing difficulties as attacks and start seeing them as lessons, they lose their power over you. I remember a time when I faced a major setback. A project I had poured my heart into failed, and my first instinct was frustration, blaming others, feeling like a victim. But then I paused and asked myself, what if this failure is actually teaching me something? The moment I changed my mindset, the disappointment turned into motivation. Instead of feeling defeated, I felt empowered. Why do we struggle with challenges? Because we expect life to go smoothly. But life doesn't work that way. Challenges aren't personal, they're inevitable. The question isn't, why is this happening to me? But what can I learn from this? How to reframe problems and take back your power. Turn setbacks into strategy. Instead of seeing failures as the end, ask, how can I use this to grow? Every challenge contains a lesson. Detach emotion from the event. Don't take obstacles personally. Life isn't against you, it's preparing you. Ask, what's the gift here? Even the hardest situations contain wisdom. Train your mind to find the benefit in every struggle. Embrace the challenge. What if the problem you're facing is the path forward? Instead of resisting it, walk through it with confidence. A challenge is like a weight at the gym. It feels heavy, but it's building your strength. Stoicism teaches that every obstacle is an opportunity in disguise. So the next time life throws a challenge your way, ask yourself, is this a roadblock or is this my path? Reframe the situation, embrace the lesson, and turn obstacles into opportunities. Number 6, let go of what you can't control. Have you ever tried holding on to sand? The tighter you grip, the faster it slips through your fingers. That's exactly what happens when you try to control people, situations, or outcomes that are simply beyond your reach. The harder you hold on, the more frustration you create for yourself. Here's the truth. You cannot control people. You cannot control what they say, what they do, or how they think. But you can control your response. That's where true freedom lies. As Epictetus wisely said, freedom is the control of yourself. The moment you stop trying to control the uncontrollable, life becomes lighter, easier, and far more peaceful. I used to waste energy trying to change people, trying to make them act the way I thought they should. But no matter how much effort I put in, they remained the same. The more I pushed, the more frustrated I became. Then I realized the problem wasn't them, it was me. The moment I let go of that need for control, I felt free. Instead of trying to change them, I focused on changing my reaction, and suddenly, my peace was no longer in their hands. Why do we struggle to let go? Because we believe that if we just push hard enough, things will go our way. But life doesn't work that way. No matter how much you want to, you can't force someone to respect you, love you, or behave the way you expect. And the more you try, the more you suffer. How to let go of what you can't control and find peace. Recognize the illusion of control. Ask yourself, am I trying to change something that isn't mine to change? If the answer is yes, release it. Shift your focus. Instead of focusing on others' actions, focus on your response. That's where your power lies. Practice radical acceptance. Things will happen that you don't like. People will act in ways that frustrate you. Accept it and move forward with peace. Detach from outcomes. Do your best, but don't obsess over results. If something is meant to happen, it will, without force. Trying to control the uncontrollable is like trying to command the waves of the ocean. But Stoicism teaches that peace comes when you stop fighting the tide and learn to ride the waves. So the next time you feel the urge to control a person or situation, ask yourself, am I holding on to sand, or am I choosing to open my hands and let go? Release the weight, embrace peace, and watch how much lighter life becomes. If you've watched the video this far, don't forget to leave a comment with a thank God and give it a like if you enjoyed the content. Your support means a lot and motivates me to keep creating more interesting videos. I hope you find inspiration in them and that we continue learning together. Thank you for your support. Number 7, practice empathy. Have you ever seen a wounded animal lash out? It's not attacking because it hates you. It's acting out of pain. People are the same way. Most of the time when someone is rude, short-tempered, or disrespectful, it has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. They are reacting from their own struggles, their own wounds, their own inner battles. Here's the truth. People don't always act rationally. They act based on their experiences, their fears, and their pain. But when we take their actions personally, we only hurt ourselves. Stoicism teaches that true wisdom comes from understanding rather than reacting. Marcus Aurelius put it perfectly. Whenever someone's lack of shame offends you, remind yourself that it's their nature. Instead of being angry, remind yourself this person is acting the only way they know how. I once worked with someone who was constantly negative, always criticizing others and spreading negativity. At first, it irritated me. I wanted to correct them, argue with them, prove them wrong. But then I stopped and thought, what if this isn't about me? What if they're carrying burdens I know nothing about? Instead of reacting with frustration, I responded with empathy. Over time, I saw the truth. They weren't angry at the world. They were struggling within themselves. And suddenly, my frustration was gone. Why do we get angry at others' actions? Because we expect people to act how we would act. But not everyone has the same experiences, the same understanding, or the same self-awareness. When you accept this, you stop expecting others to be perfect and start seeing them as they truly are, imperfect, just like you. How to practice empathy and let go of anger. Assume there's more to the story. When someone lashes out, ask yourself, what might they be going through that I don't see? Detach from personalization. Their behavior is a reflection of them, not you. Don't make it about you. Respond with curiosity, not judgment. Instead of reacting with anger, respond with understanding. I wonder why they're acting this way. Led with kindness. The people who act the worst often need kindness the most. Don't add to their suffering, rise above it. Reacting with anger is easy, but Stoicism teaches that true strength comes from understanding rather than reacting. So, the next time someone frustrates you, ask yourself, am I reacting to their pain, or am I choosing to see beyond it? Choose understanding, choose patience, and watch how much lighter life becomes. Number 8. Don't take things personally. Have you ever seen a radio playing static? No matter how much noise it makes, you don't get offended. You just change the station. People's words and actions are like that static. Most of what they say and do has nothing to do with you. It's just a reflection of their frequency, their thoughts, their emotions. Here's the truth. People don't see you as you are. They see you as they are. If they are kind, they see kindness. If they are bitter, they project bitterness. But their opinions don't define you. Stoicism teaches that your peace should never depend on someone else's words. As Epictetus wisely said, another person's opinion is none of your concern. Their judgments are just noise. Only you decide what matters. I used to let people's words affect me. If someone criticized me, I'd replay it in my mind, wondering what I did wrong. But then I realized their reactions were based on their experiences, their moods, their insecurities. I was just the target, not the cause. The moment I stopped taking things personally, I became untouchable. Why do we take things personally? Because we tie our self-worth to others' opinions. But the reality is, most people are too busy thinking about themselves to be truly thinking about you. When you accept this, their words lose their power over you. How to stop taking things personally and stay free? Change the station. If someone is negative, don't tune in. Just like static, you don't have to listen. Detach from judgment. Their opinions are about them, not you. You don't need to explain, prove, or defend yourself. Ask, what's their frequency? Are they acting out of kindness or insecurity? Recognizing this helps you stop taking things to heart. Let their words pass like wind. Just because someone says something doesn't mean it's true. Let it pass without resistance. Letting others' opinions control you is like letting a broken radio dictate your mood. But Stoicism teaches that true peace comes from within. You choose your own frequency no matter the noise around you. So the next time someone criticizes or offends you, ask yourself, am I letting their noise affect me, or am I tuning into my own peace? Stay calm, stay centered, and let the static fade into the background.